You tapping in real quick. Something light, nothing major. You know what I'm talking about? Just gonna sit here, chop it up with y'all for a few minutes while I burn this down. Dog hair all over me and shit. Rocky right here next to me. Hopefully he don't knock this motherfucking phone over. You know what I'm talking about? I very much so do. Had this thing properly positioned. And if he knocks it the wrong way, y'all taking a ride. You know what I'm talking about? But let's talk about this car real quick, man. For what it's worth. You know what I mean? While I burn this down with y'all, man. It's that OG wedding cake. You know what I mean? This fight card, man. You know, we can make some good money off this card, man. You just have to, you know, be in tune with reality and realize that you need to proceed with caution on quite a few of these fights. You understand what I'm saying to you? Listen, I already said it. I like John Jones via KO, TKO, or submission. I'm not arguing that. It's my personal opinion. If you don't like it, if it's not for you, understandably so. You know what I'm talking about? But I like John Jones via KO, TKO, or submission at minus 260. You know what I mean? I like Corinne Silva's money line, minus 295. I like Oban Elliott's money line, minus 230. You know what I'm talking about? I like Bo Nickel to get it done via KO, TKO, or sub, minus 490. As of right now, he's under that minus 500 money line to get it done via KO, TKO, or sub. That won't necessarily be the case too much longer. And while I did pick Janata Denise, I do like Marcin Tabura to get this one done. I like Marcin Tabura to get this one done via submission or points. I'm just waiting for that prop to drop. You understand what I'm saying to you? While Janata Denise is the more technical practitioner on the feet, you know what I'm talking about? He is the more cleaner, crisper of the two. Marcin Tabura is no fish out of water on the feet, and he has been in there with some of the elite of the elite of the elite of the elite. You understand what I'm saying to you when it comes to mixed martial artists, individuals in the striking department, individuals with power, and if we're being honest with each other, man, yes, Austin drug Denise down. Denise was able to get up and find the finish. You know what I'm talking about? But if Marcin drags him down, I don't think he's getting up, and I think Marcin finds the finish. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because Marcin's different than Austin Lane. Now, when we talk about finishes, because I think the only way Denise finishes, Janata Denise wins a fight against Marcin Tabura is to finish the fight. And come on, man, he couldn't finish Carl. You know what I mean? Ain't his name Carl? He couldn't finish Carl. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm not high on Carl in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Carl took him down like 2 out of 5 times, and Denise just did the better work. The body of work he produced on the feet was better than the body of work Carl was able to produce when he was able to, you know, secure takedowns and get it to the ground. Again, Tibura secures a takedown and get it to the ground. I think he only needs one. I think he gets it done via submission, possibly in round one if he takes it to the ground in round one. He could find the, you know, finish from top position, silverback, ground and pound. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it just is what it is. The level of opposition that Marcin Tabura has had to face is by far higher. The resume is undeniably incomparable. That O is going to go. It's inevitable. It's just about when will that O go? Who's going to take that O away from him? And is Marcin Tabura the guy to do it at UFC 309? I personally believe he is. Now, Denise was the pick. I'm not pick switching no more. I told y'all that, but I am properly preparing myself to be on the wrong side of those picks as far as parlays are concerned, and I'm doing my best not to put us in those type of situations moving forward anyway. This just happens to be one of those situations, though. You know what I mean? And I do apologize for that. You know what I'm talking about from the pick side of things. But outside of Denise clipping and disconnecting, you know, Marcin from his consciousness inside the first couple minutes, which he's not that big of a finisher at this level. Marcin is a higher level than anything he's ever had to face, and he hasn't proven to be an all-around finisher at the levels and the tiers that he's been on so far. You know what I'm talking about? So it's Marcin Tabura for me. That money line is beautiful, and he's going to be getting a lot of action, especially on the prelims. You know what I'm talking about? And Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman. Let's talk about Chris Weidman, man. Huh? I told y'all, man. Hometown hero round that parts. Chris Weidman name hold weight. Not only in that state, you know, and with the fans, but with the judges and with the referees and with the commentators and just absolutely. MSG loves him. You know what I'm talking about? The UFC loves him. The fans, listen, man, out there, regardless of how you might feel about him, Chris Weidman is that guy, man. He's from New York. You know what I'm talking about? He, you know, he's a hometown hero around them parts when it comes to mixed martial arts, man. Just like John Jones, New York. Hometown hero around them parts when it comes to mixed martial arts, man. Jimmy and Mickey from New Jersey. Hometown heroes around them parts. You know what I'm talking about? Bo, bit of a hometown hero around them parts as far as PA is concerned. You know what I'm talking about for his wrestling and what he was able to do, but not up there with the rest of them. Not even on the same level as you know, Mickey, in my personal opinion. Definitely nowhere near the steam as a Jimmy or a Chris or a John in the tri-state. You understand what I'm saying to you? And while Bezel is from there, he's not going to be able to make it highly competitive enough or closely contested enough to edge out a decision. And he's not a big enough hometown favorite or hero or whatever you might want to call it, like a, not, you know, he's nowhere near the Mickey level as far as a hometown hero in them parts in the tri-state is concerned. He's not from New York, he's not from Jersey, he's down from PA, and the only one from PA that would, you know, have steam, you know what I mean, would be Bo Nickel, man. You feel me? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. I like John via KO, TKO, and submission. I like Corinne on the money line. I like Oban on the money line. I like Bo via KO, TKO, or submission. I like Marcin on the money line. And I like Chris Weidman on the money line. And I'm telling you, I tell you right now, John via KO, TKO, or submission at -260. Corinne Silva at money line -295. And it's got to be money line. Vivian's never been submitted. She has been knocked out once before, but she's never been submitted. So Corinne via KO, TKO, or submission is +210. That's a lovely number, but I don't know if she's going to be the first one to knock her out. She might be the second one to submit her, but I don't know if she's going to be the first one to knock, or I don't know if she's going to be the second one to knock her out. The first one to submit her or the second one to knock her out because she's never been submitted. I don't know if she's going to be the first one to submit her. She may very well be. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be by KO or points because she might be the first one to submit her. I don't know if it's going to be submission or points because she might fucking knock her out. I just don't know. I don't know if it's going to be by points at +120. All those numbers are better than her money line, but I just don't know how it's going to go down. I just know Corinne's going to is going to win. So I'll take that -295. +210 for the KO, TKO, or sub. -140 for the KO, TKO points. -185 for the sub or points. +120 for the points. I'm not comfortable with any of that. Give me the -295 on the money line. I can parlay that up and be comfortable with that. You know what I'm talking about? So John via KO, TKO, or sub at -260 takes me far away from that -700. I'm good with that. And it's under -500. I'm good with that. 260. You know what I'm talking about? Corinne -295. The rest of this shit, I'm uneasy. I don't know how she's going to get it done. So that 295, I'm good with that. Oban -230, I'm good with that. I caught Oban when he was way, way back, you know, at a way better number. But I'll continue to catch him, and I'm going to continue to catch him. You know what I'm talking about? He's at -230 now. And those four together, they came together at +166. You know what I'm talking about? If we add Marcin, Tabura in there, those five together those five came together at like +975. You know what I'm talking about? And if we toss Chris Weidman on there, who's coming to be almost pick him at -106 right now, you know what I'm talking about? That's going to take us up into like the +1500s or something. I didn't get a chance to look at that because I just, you know, got hip to the fact that Chris Weidman is now a -102 or a -106 on the money line. Damn near a pick him when I just went, you know, and looked through the app. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is, man. He gonna be a favorite. I'm telling you, at -120, -146, -136 favorite come fight night, man. And why wouldn't he be? He's Chris Weidman. He's the former middleweight champion. The resume is undeniably incomparable from that of an Eric Anders. The body of work he's been able to produce inside the octagon up against the level of individuals he's been able to produce it against inside that octagon, undeniably incomparable of that of what Eric Anders has been able to do. Eric Anders' best wins come over Kyle fucking Dawkins, Jamie fucking Pickett, Darren Stewart after having a no contest with Darren Stewart. Like, there is nothing impressive or nothing that moves me about Eric Anders' resume. And individuals were just, you know, very very low on Chris Weidman based off his last performance with Bruno and based off of how it's been for him as of lately. But, you know, understandably so. But how can you be high on Eric Anders, man? The guy is beating Kyle Dawkins. The guy is beating Jamie Pickett. He beat Darren Stewart after the no contest with Darren Stewart. Like, I've watched Eric Anders' whole, whatever you want to call it, through the UFC, man. You know what I'm talking about? And nothing about it has been impressive. He's an athletic individual who, for the most part, has not used his tools to the best of his ability. His IQ is not that good. Like, he's about as sharp as a fucking marble inside that octagon. You understand what I'm saying to you? And it is what it is. But it's why I caught Chris Weidman with that dog tag. I hope everybody else did. I don't really see how Chris Weidman loses this fight outside of Eric Anders finding the finish inside the distance. And he'd have to do that via clipping and disconnecting Chris Weidman from his consciousness on the feet, where he's at a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Chris Weidman has better kicks, better strikes, in my personal opinion. He's the cleaner, crisper, more technical practitioner. He's a better boxer. You know what I'm talking about? He throws better fucking kicks. He has better offensive and defensive wrestling and grappling and jiu-jitsu. You understand what I'm saying to you? So where Eric Anders would normally, you know, use his wrestling or grappling advantage to try to push somebody up against the cage, you know, stomp on their feet, throw knees, and try to, you know, sweep them down to the ground to get some top pressure. I think he loses in all those engagements against Chris Weidman. I think he knows as he loses. And the first time, if he doesn't, the first time he attempts it, when he loses, he's not going to attempt it no more. It's going to be at distance. It's going to be at ranges. Chris is going to do the better work. Even if it's highly competitive and closely contested and goes to the cards, it's in Madison Square Garden, Chris's backyard. He's the former middleweight champion. He's Chris Weidman. That name just holds weight over there. You will have to knock him out, submit him, or significantly separate your body of work from the body of work that he's able to produce to catch that dub and steal that decision from him in his backyard. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Again, this is all very much just my personal opinion, and also why I like these money lines. And maybe now that Chris isn't, you know, an underdog with a plus money number next to his name, maybe now that he doesn't have a dog tag next to his name, some of y'all can get a bit more, you know, on the side of getting behind him with me, man. Huh? Because it's the fucking right side to be on, man. It is the right. And Jimmy Miller, still with a dog tag next to his name. I'm telling you, that's going to change. And if it doesn't, I'll be glad it doesn't. But it should, man. My baby got his cowboy hat on, got his jacket on, huh? His boots, he ready to rock. He in perfect shape. Weight cuts going fucking great. He in his hometown, man. He in his backyard. He's a Jersey boy, man. You know what I'm talking about? Even if this thing was highly contested and closely competitive, and closely contested, man, Damon is not catching the nod 9 times out of 10. Jimmy's going to get that. Jim Miller's name holds weight, especially in this state, especially in Madison Square Garden, especially if it's highly competitive and closely contested, and he can, you know, put himself one more, not just one more fight in the UFC, but one more win in the UFC, because trust and believe he's going to be searching for one more finish in the UFC, for one more post bonus in the UFC. Like, come on, man. There's so many records. There's so much that comes with Jim Miller, so much that goes into Jim Miller walking to that octagon every single time. You will have to significantly separate yourself, you know, and your body of work from him and his body of work inside that octagon over the course of 15 minutes in Madison Square Garden in his backyard to steal that nod from him. In my personal opinion, all very much so just my personal opinion. But Damon Jackson is not Bobby King Green. Nothing about the body of work that Damon Jackson has been able to produce in any way, shape, form, or fashion leads me to believe that he is the pick over Jimmy, man. Huh? Like, we're talking about Jimmy's last fight. So what? Jimmy's still 3-2 in his last 5. Damon's like 2-3 in his last 5. You know what I'm talking about? And he's been finished. You feel what I'm saying to you? Jimmy's just finishing, Joe. Like, I think he got, everybody talk about his good win. Damon does not have good wins. He has one to be determined as of right now, relatively good win amongst the level of opposition that he's been competing against. And that's Pat Sabatini with that flash knockout. You put him in there 9 more times with Pat Sabatini, he's not coming out of there 5-5 with a dub. He's probably losing 8 or 9 fucking times. He might lose the rest of those fucking times, man. You understand what I'm saying to you? He caught a flash knockout over Pat Sabatini. You know what I mean? And he caught a split decision over Anthony Hernandez or whatever his name is, man. Other than that, I think he's been knocked out. You feel what I'm saying to you? And he's lost some motherfucking decisions. Jimmy lost the decision to Bobby, lost the decision to Anthony, and fucking neck cranked the Joker, knocked out a Joker, guillotined the Joker, knocked out another Joker. I mean, come on, man. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he's getting finishes inside that octagon, inside the distance, and, you know, in my personal opinion, up against better levels of opposition. You understand what I'm saying to you? Jimmy's the more dangerous individual. If Damon wants to implement a whole lot of that wrestle fuck against Jimmy, Jimmy will be his Huckleberry, man. Jimmy will welcome that shit, and Jimmy will snatch something up, in my personal opinion, or he will put him in a compromisable position from the bottom while he's working to transition and get into a dominant position. Damon's going to find himself in some fucking trouble, man. You know what I'm talking about? Damon is an individual who just possesses a bit of pop in his shots with his counters, and has, you know, proven at sometimes he can be dangerous. But I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. He's like, when we're talking about Damon Jackson, flash knockout of Pat Sabatini, let's just put that in the category of Davy Grant's flash knockout of Jonathan Martinez, man. You understand what I'm saying to you? Davy Grant, Damon Jackson, very much same level of opposition in my personal opinion, man. They're individuals have just, you know, been around the block quite a few fucking times. They're solid. They're well-rounded. And they've proven that they can be dangerous up against a certain level of opposition. And, you know, if they catch you, they can be dangerous up against just about any level of opposition if they catch you. But, like, the greatest things Davy Grant did was the knockout of Jonathan Martinez, just like the greatest thing Damon Jackson has did is the knockout of Pat Sabatini. Let's not put too much stock into these flash knockout situations, man, where individuals get caught. Because individuals get caught. It's a motherfucking fight. Things happen. You understand what I'm saying to you? On any given fight night, when that cage locks, anything can and will happen. You can't put anything outside the, you know, possibility of, outside the realm of possibility, man. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is. I'm ranting. I don't let this shit go out. You know what I'm talking about? But, yeah, man. I like who I like. And if I was into the pick switching shit, you know, I'd have pick switched real quick on Marcine and Denise, because I believe that's going to cost me on my, you know, right to wrong pick ratio this week. But it is what it is. We will be properly prepared for being on the wrong side of that pick parlay-wise if we are betting and parlaying that pick over here in the doghouse. You dig me? I will say that again so nobody has to tap in as if they didn't hear it and I wasn't fucking redundant, and you know, they're not properly prepared for being on the wrong side of my Janata Denise versus Marcine Tabura pick, because I believe Marcine Tabura to be the pick via submission or points, and wouldn't be surprised if he found the motherfucking finish via KO, TKO inside the distance with a striking sequence or from, you know, top position ground and pound. So Marcine Tabura on the money line. You know what I mean? Chris Weidman on the money line. Oban Elliott on the money line. Corinne Silva on the money line. John Jones via KO, TKO or submission. You know what I'm talking about? And Bo Nickel via KO, TKO or submission. You know what I'm talking about? Hold on, baby. And when we're talking about the rest of this card, man, you know, Veronica Hardy versus Eduardo Souza. I don't Veronica versus Eduardo, because I don't have the first last name written down. Tread lightly, man. Proceed with caution. There is so many reasons for this fight to be a complete pass. The boxes are checked. It is a women's MMA match. It is the first fight of the night as of right now on the lineup. That's 2 checks right there. There's question marks on both sides. That's 3 checks right there. How will Eduardo do not having to go through such a significant weight cut? Will there be a better gas tank? Will she be able to push even harder? And if that is the case, will Veronica be able to survive that push? because that's not a fucking 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 minute push, man. That's a 13, 14, and 15 minute motherfucking push. She attempted 26 takedowns in her last match in a 13-minute fight. That's Merab Dwashvili type shit. That is a fucking machine. You understand what I'm saying to you? 26 takedown attempts over the course of 15 minutes in any women's or men's mixed martial arts at any weight class. You understand what I'm saying to you? She is a fucking machine. And if not having to take such a significant bit of weight off, not having to go through a detrimental weight cut, you know, allows her to have a bit more gas in her tank and a bit more, you know, endurance and steam to just lay down on that motherfucking gas a bit more, oh boy, she could be a fucking problem. Because, again, I said it before, while Veronica, I do believe, is the better all-around, you know, mixed martial artist, will do the cleaner work, the crisper work, the more technical practitioner on the feet. She's not a high volume striker. She is somebody who likes to mix in her all around body of work. With Eduardo being as dangerous as she is on the mat, I don't know that Veronica's going to want to take it there and just give her what she wants and put her where she wants to be, where she has the opportunity of having the most success. So that means it's going to have to be on the feet while stuffing takedowns. And while Eduardo went for 26 takedowns and secured a few, she still kept her strikes, you know, mid-level around the 50s for strikes landed and all that, while her opponent stuffed like 20-something takedowns and kept her strikes relatively respectable, right over the 100 landed line. You know what I mean? Well, Veronica's never landed 100 strikes, even when she hasn't had to stuff off any takedowns. Or even if she's only had to stuff like 2 out of 4 takedowns. She's never even landed, like, her strikes, I said it before, man. They're somewhere probably between, you know, in strikes landed, just not talking significant, somewhere probably between like 59 and 80 something. You know what I'm talking about? 80 being her highest and her best output. Significant strikes far much lower, you know what I'm talking about? So I don't know that Veronica's going to be able to stuff off as many takedowns that are going to be coming her way and put out enough volume on the feet. Like, I don't know that the body of work Veronica's going to be able to produce on the feet when it's there is going to be able to significantly separate itself from the body of work that Eduardo is going to be able to produce while she's relentlessly chaining these takedowns together and attempting to put Veronica in compromisable positions. So while Veronica very much so is the pick, and we're not doing pick switches over here, if you're betting this fight, you know, if you have it wrapped up in prelim parlays, properly prepare yourself for being on the wrong side of this pick with the swap out option. You know what I mean? I'm solid on Oban. If you're not, proceed as you would like to. Ramiz and Mickey. Ramiz is the pick. You know, there's no switches going on, but properly prepare yourself, man. Mickey is the hometown hero around them parts for what it's worth, you know. And there will be a lot of cheering. There will be a lot of screaming. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be a lot of noise being made for Mickey in that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? And not so much so for Ramiz. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, man. You just got to properly prepare yourself for being on the wrong side of those picks. This fucking bitch, as far as parlaying and betting is concerned, man. Come on, you happy with yourself? You done knocked everything all over the fucking place, man. You got to properly prepare yourself, man, because, you know, if Ramiz don't find the finish, if Ramiz don't get it done inside the distance, you know what I'm talking about? And this thing is highly competitive and closely contested, meaning he doesn't significantly separate himself and the body of work he's able to produce from that of Mickey and the body of work that Mickey's able to produce. Boy, oh boy, huh? Boy, oh boy, we could be on the wrong side of that pick, and Mickey could be getting that nod, man, because Mickey name over there in Jersey, he gonna come out to that. Hey, Mickey, you see, he gonna come out to that shit too, probably. You know what I'm talking about? They gonna be going crazy over there. His family and fans gonna be on the front fucking line. You know what I'm talking about? And it just is what it is, man. You would like to think more times than not, if it's highly competitive and closely contested, that you know, more times than not, Mickey would get that nod. So unless Ramiz drags him down, racks up, 2-3 minutes of control time in every round, putting him in compromisable positions and landing ground and pound. I don't know that he can steal this decision, so properly prepare yourself and proceed with caution. When it comes to Veronica and Eduardo, I'm good on Oban, but if you're not, that's on you. Proceed with caution with Mickey and Ramiz. Now, listen, I'm good on Marcin, man. I'm good on Marcin, man. Denise is the pick. I do have Denise already wrapped up in some early bird parlays, you know what I'm talking about? So that is what that is, you know what I'm talking about? If it goes left on me from what I believe to be true, then as long as the rest of the legs come through, and Denise does too, that's that with that. But I am moving forward, and I have already, put some parlays in with Marcin, because I do believe Marcin to be the side, man. Possibly inside the distance via submission. It could also be KO TKO from top position, ground and pound, club and sub type situation. Don't put it past Marcin Tabura to catch him and clip him and disconnect him from his consciousness on the feet, neither, and follow up with hammer fist. You know what I'm talking about? He been in there with some gats. You know what I'm talking about? But I believe he's going to, pretty much do what the polar bear did to him in the last matchup and just get him out of there relatively quickly inside the distance via submission, man. I don't believe Janata Denise can survive underneath Marcin Tabura. You know what I'm talking about? Marcin is different than Austin Lane. He's different than Carl. He's different than anybody that Janata has ever had to face. And it is what it is. Properly prepare yourself for being on the wrong side of that pick. It's heavyweight MMA. There's question marks on both sides. One guy's undefeated, but is undeniably not faced the level of opposition that the other guy has faced. One guy clearly has a path to victory, and that is getting this one down to the ground, where the other one is vulnerable and does not have a get-up game at all, and that is not good with Marcin, because Marcin is built different. You know what I'm talking about? And Denise, I just don't know how dangerous Denise is at this level. Like I said, he couldn't get Carl out of there, man, and fuck is Carl, you feel me? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Roberto and David, you know what I'm talking about? David should get this one done. I'm sure that money line, when it drops for David Onama against Roberto Romero, I'm sure that money line is going to look much like Ruffy and John Jones and Bo Nichols' money line, you know what I mean? But, right now, when you take John Jones and, Corinne Silva and Mauricio Ruffy and Bo Nickel, they only come together like minus 118. If you put another significant favorite in that motherfucker, and whatever David Onama is going to be, I'm sure they're going to give you a plus money number, and maybe some people will want to use that as a foundation to build longer parlays off of. Who knows? I'm sure he's going to be a significant favorite. David Onama will be the pick. We'll have to see what the money line is looking like. I can't say how David Onama is going to get it done against this kid. Maybe this kid comes in there and proves to be tough and can survive and weather all storms, and it goes to a decision. So, you know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe he can't. Maybe he gets knocked out. Maybe he gets submitted. Who the fuck knows? But it would just be a money line situation in a haymaker or a Hail Mary for me, based off of what that money line's probably going to be. Jim Miller. Still a dog, man. Still at a dog tag. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be the only pick I have that's still at a dog. Let me see. Veronica, Oban, Ramiz, I believe, is still at a dog tag, too. Anyway, Jim Miller, man. Jim Miller and Damon. I spoke on that. It's Jim for me. I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a little haymaker, trying to sweep the whole prelims, where I applied the swap out option to that fight and took Damon. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But fuck that ticket. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think it's winning, and I'm just a fucking degenerate. So it was mandatory to put in Martinez versus Marcus. You know what I mean? And listen, man, I get it. Martinez has by far faced, and not just faced, but beaten the higher level of opposition. Also, by far lost. One of his losses is to one of the highest levels of opposition. Hey, yo, let her have the couch, motherfucker. Just leave her alone, boy. Nah, leave her alone. Relax, man. She fitting to fuck you up. She gonna take your whole face off, man. Um, where was we at? Yeah, Martinez and Marcus, man. Listen, I like Martinez. I like Martinez. That loss to Aldo, can't frown on him about that. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody that was over here already know how we had that going, how that went. It was Jose Aldo via unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. Wouldn't be surprised if it was 3 rounds to 0. And if the finish presented itself inside the distance, we'll take it. But bare minimum, it's Jose by unanimous decision. And I know what it was, 3 rounds to 0. Jose by unanimous decision. It's levels to this shit. You know what I'm talking about? And I personally don't believe Jose lost his next fight against Mario, but that one is what it is. A loss is a loss and a win is a win. Bad, very bad stylistic matchup in my personal opinion for Jonathan Martinez. Like we said, when I was talking about Damon, you know, catching Pat Sabatini, we can put that in the category as Davy Grant catching Jonathan Martinez. With that being said, Jonathan Martinez has showed us that he can be caught. He can be cracked. He can be dropped. He can be TKO'd and finished inside the distance, inside that octagon, in my personal opinion, by what's by far a less dangerous level of opposition, a less powerful level of opposition, and I just believe a all around lower level of opposition. And even if him and Davy Grant were to be believed to be on the same level of opposition, I would believe that Marcus is the more dangerous of the two. You know what I'm talking about? All of that's only being said to say that if Davy Grant can catch him and clip him and drop him, Marcus can most definitely catch him, clip him, and drop him. You understand what I'm saying to you? And while Jose Aldo is a very good name to have on your resume and a very respectable loss, let's talk about Andre and Andre. They are not. We could do without both of those Andres. Andre U and Andre, however you say Andre S's name. Andre E and Andre S. We could do without both of them. So while Martinez does have, you know, some respectable names spread across his resume and has been up against a higher level of opposition, has beaten a higher level of opposition regardless of how individuals feel about the Saeed fight and whatnot. He has, you know, faced and beaten a higher level of opposition. You know what I'm talking about? But he also has some very suspect losses, which shows you that on any given fight night, when that cage locks, anything can and will happen. And he has proven that, in my personal opinion, to lower levels of opposition and individuals that are also not just lower levels of opposition, but also more dangerous, less dangerous than that of Marcus McGee, have caught the dubs over him. You know what I'm talking about? So it is what it is, man. One thing has nothing to do with the other, but it's all worth consideration. Yeah, one thing has nothing to do with the other, but it's all worth consideration. You know what I'm talking about? And it is what it is. I just believe that, like I said, while Martinez has faced a higher level of opposition and beaten the higher level of opposition, he's also faced a lower level of opposition, a less dangerous level of opposition, and lost to that lower level of opposition and been finished to that less dangerous level of opposition. You understand what I'm saying to you? I just think that right now, you know, Marcus is going to be a bit too much for him, a bit overwhelming. And he's going to find a finish inside the distance, possibly via submission for the first time. Or maybe he clips him and disconnects him from his consciousness. Maybe it's a club and sub type situation, or it's another, you know, ground and pound from top position, man. I'm high on Marcus, though. I like him in his position. I would be lying, and I'd also be a fool not to be applying the swap out option, you know, in his position. Not on every parlay that I put in that has Marcus on it, but for the most part, I think 1 or 2 of my whole card parlays, I applied the swap out option with Martinez. And 1 or 2 of my prelim parlays, I may have whole prelim parlays, like haymakers for the whole thing. I may have applied the swap out option as well. But other than that, I'm heavy on Marcus, man. I just like him in his spot. I think he's a bad stylistic matchup for Martinez, man. And that's just that. With that, Ruffy versus James. I'm just looking for that you know, drop that prop to drop so I can catch Ruffy. Hopefully somewhere like around, at least around where I caught Bo at, maybe like around where I caught John at. But as long as it's under minus 500 and I can catch Ruffy for the, KO, TKO, or submission, I'm gonna lock him up in the parlays and extra leg as well with those props because while Ruffy just knocks jokers the fuck out, clips them and disconnects them from their consciousness. The only time James has ever been finished inside the distance, if I'm not mistaken, is via submission once. He's never been knocked out. And James may be another one of those individuals that we end up, the night ends up being about how tough and durable that kid James was. You know what I'm talking about? And how many times the fight could have been stopped but wasn't. Maybe he's one of those cats. And, maybe Ruffy just decides, after the first 10 minutes of not being able to get him out of here inside the distance via KO, TKO, after catching and clipping him and hurting him on multiple occasions, I'm just going to go ahead and put this young scrap down on the ground and wrap him the fuck up to get him up out of here and keep this finishing rate intact and possibly get this, post-fight bonus for submission of the night at the end of the night. You know what I'm talking about? So, I'd like to take Ruffy via KO, just like I'd like to take Bo Nickel via KO. But what's to say they don't get it done via submission? I think it's done inside the distance, so I'm all right with the KO, TKO, or submission in the double chance section. Corinne, all good. You know what I'm talking about as far as I'm concerned. Bo, all good as far as I'm concerned. And, Charles and Mike proceed with extreme caution. Hey, Raya, you got to hold on. You stuck now, shorty. Motherfucker home for the day, and they want to go out the front, in the front, out the back, in the back, out the front, in the front, on the couch, chill for a minute. Fuck this shit. I want to go back out. They go crazy when I'm home for the day. We not finna do it like this. You out there, shorty. You know what I'm talking about? But, yeah. I'm good on Veronica, man, as far as my pick, because there's no pick switching, but proceed with extreme caution, because there's no hometown advantages. There's no nothing here. And Veronica's just not a a high volume striker, man. She could very well lose this one because Eduardo, while she puts out those takedowns, she's still mad, try. For somebody like Veronica, Eduardo can attempt all those takedowns and still match her in the volume department, and that could prove to be what costs her at the end of the night. Even if she only gives up 2 takedowns out of like 14, those 2 takedowns she gives up are going to come with a bit of control time depending on how fast she gets up. And those other 11 are going to come with a bit of control time up against the motherfucking cage and some strikes thrown, knees thrown, feet stomps, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Grimy, greasy. So many reasons to stay away, but, proceed with extreme caution, man. I'm good on Oban all the way. Proceed with extreme caution on Mickey and Ramiz. I'm good on Marcin. Denise is the pick, so we probably prepared for being on the wrong side of that shit, but it's heavyweight MMA, so swap out options are necessary, man. I'm good with David over this debutante, Roberto Romero. Listen, I'm good on Jim over Damon. You want to apply the swap out option and proceed with caution, to each their own. I'm good on Chris if you want to apply the swap out option and proceed with caution, to each their own. I've done it myself in a couple scenarios, but I'm pretty much good on them. I'm good on Marcus, man. If you want to proceed with caution and apply the swap out option, I have myself in a couple situations, but for the most part, I'm just solid on Marcus. Good on Ruffy, good on Corinne, good on Bo. Now here we go. Charles and Mike, y'all. You know what I mean? Proceed with extreme caution. Because you can catch Charles at a better number 2 for the KO, TKO, or submission. I believe Charles is like around minus 180 or something like that. Yeah, minus 180. John Jones via KO, TKO, or sub is 260. Charles is 180. Together, they're minus 115 type shit. But with that being said, man, Mike via KO TKO is plus 400, man. You know what I mean? So if you're playing this fight on the money line in main card parlays, I would definitely apply the swap out option for Mike and Charles, much like I did last week with Cortavius and Gaston, the bull, you know, GB. And he very much so was the one to come through and secure, as y'all seen in the swap out option applied in the in the parlay that I uploaded at the end of the night, man. Some situations they are absolutely necessary, and this Charles and Mike situation is one of them. In my personal opinion, if a dog is gonna bark on the main card, it's gonna be Mike. With all due respect to Stipe, which Stipe, via KO, TKO in his own right. I told you about John via minus 260 for the KO, TKO or sub, and Stipe for the KO is plus 700. You know what I'm talking about? But and I'd be lying if I said I didn't wrap Mike and Stipe together, plus 400 and plus 700 together, and just drop a double on them, just out of respect and just because and just on principle, because I did. You know what I'm talking about? But John's the pick. And no pick switching with Charles, but we are properly prepared for being on the wrong side of that one, man. Let me tell you, Mike looking good, man. Charles always looks good, man. Charles always looks good. Mike is looking exceptionally well, though, man. You know what I'm talking about? Exceptionally well. He's looking good, man. He's looking good. And I'm kind of interested to see what kind of game plan he's going to implement. Is he going to come out here and bang? Is he going to play this one a little bit, safer? Be a bit more technical? Pick his shots? Is he going to implement the wrestling, the grappling, in an attempt to, edge these rounds out and stay safe? Possibly, get some ground and pound off. Who knows, man? But I think if Mike wins this fight, he's already proven that he can catch Charles and hurt Charles. If Mike wins this fight, it's via KO. You know what I'm talking about? So swap out option is absolutely necessary. And Mike at plus 400 for KO, TKO is absolutely, depending on how you feel, mandatory of a sprinkle in some way, shape, form, or fashion, because that is how he gets it done. He's not winning. He's not winning a decision, in my personal opinion. Not majority, not split, not unanimous. You have to understand something about individuals like Charles Oliveira and Jim Miller. When Charles Oliveira and Jim Miller walk out to that octagon, if you do not find the finish inside the distance and you are unable to significantly separate yourself in the body of work you were able to produce, much like King Green did against Jimmy, you're losing. When it goes to the cards, 9 times out of 10, you're losing, because so much goes in to them winning. Raising them bars, raising them records. You know what I'm talking about? Just so much goes into them winning. And the UFC loves it. Dana White, everybody loves it. They love it. When Charles wins again, they fucking love it. When he wins inside the distance, they fucking love it. When they can give him another post-fight bonus, they fucking love it. You know what I'm talking about? They love these two motherfuckers, man. And when these two motherfuckers show up, if they don't get it done inside the distance and it goes the full distance, they're winning via unanimous decision, majority, or split. They're getting the nod, man. Because unless, like I said, you do like what Bobby did, which Damon is incapable of doing and Mike is incapable of doing. Damon would have to flash knockout Jim like he did Pat, and Mike's going to have to knock out Charles. Outside of that, if it goes to the cards, they fucking lose, man. In my personal opinion. You know what I mean? And John versus Stipe, it's just John. Hold on, girl. You gotta hold on a couple minutes now. You gonna wait for me to burn this down. It's John, man. With all due respect to Stipe, if Stipe wins this fight, you know, from a knockout, not only does he officially give John his first ever loss, but he does it inside the distance by knocking him the fuck out. You know what I'm talking about? Because I don't believe he can significantly separate the body of work he's able to produce against John Jones over the course of 25 minutes. John Jones is going to fuck his knees up with those kicks, the oblique kicks. I mean, John's just going to do the better of work. And Stipe, while he would have his moments if it stayed on the feet, he still would have to knock him out or significantly separate himself, which I don't believe he's going to be able to do. And while I say if it stayed on the feet, I mean that, because I think John Jones is going to come out here and try to get this one done quick. And then while Tom Aspinall is sitting right there in the crowd on the front line, John's going to look right past him and ask for that, like right through him, and ask for the Alex fight. You know what I'm talking about? And once the Alex fight, once he's collected all these checks from Stipe fight, and all the checks that are going to come with the motherfucking Alex build-up and the Alex fight, then once that's behind him, when that fight's over, in the octagon, he'll call for the Tom Aspinall fight for his final fight. You know what I'm talking about? Because right now, John's 20, he's 27-1, but he's technically 28-0. And I believe when he beats Stipe, you know, he'll be 28-1, technically 29-0. You know what I mean? But he'll be 28-1. You know what I mean? So then he'll go over and he'll beat Alex, which would make him 30-0, but technically 29-1. So what's he going to do? He's going to call for Tom. And why is he going to call for Tom? Because not only does he want that final big paycheck that's going to come with fighting motherfucking Tom, you know what I'm talking about? But it's going to make him 30-1. Technically 31-0, but still 30-1. Khabib retired at 29-0, undefeated. He's going to retire at 31-0, but technically 30-1, undefeated. You know what I'm talking about? With all the records and all the title defenses, and have absolutely beaten anybody and everybody you could put in front of him that was questionable to possibly take him out and fuck up his legacy, man. And not only is it going to go down like this, watch me. Watch what I tell you. Mark my words. Not only is it going to go down like this, man, but it's all going down like this because it's the way John wants it to go down. You know what I mean? Tom frustrated. Tom frustrated, man. Tom frustrated. I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. Rightfully so. Justifiably so. That's what John wants. That's what John wants. And as all these videos get posted by Tom and by everybody else who's justifiably so frustrated, these videos become a bit more emotional. Tom is getting a bit more emotionally involved, man. And how much more emotionally involved and frustrated and fucked up in the head do you think he's going to be when John beats Stipe and looks right through him and asks for the Alex fight, and the UFC gives him the Alex fight, and this motherfucking shit goes on for another year? The build-up, and he's got to fight Alex, and then once that's over and he asks for motherfucking time, then the build-up for that, we're talking about 2 fucking years from now. Huh? We talking about possibly 2 years from now. That's 2 more years of wear on Tom's body, 2 more years of frustration and emotional, you know, distress and just all types of just fuckery on the inside for Tom. And then John's gonna fight him. Huh? And then John's gonna fight this frustrated, overly emotional, distraught, just wanting to take this motherfucker's head off Tom. And he's going to use it all against him. Huh? He's going to use it all against him, man. And he's going to fucking retire. He's going to take his gloves off after beating Tom Aspinall. And he's going to fucking retire. And everybody, no matter how they feel about it, what are you all going to say? What the fuck is anybody going to do? Because he's doing just what he wants to do right now. What's happening? The frustration, the emotions getting involved. This is what he wants, man. It's mind. He's playing mind, emotional warfare. You know what I mean? All in the mind. all in the emotions of time. And it just keeps building, no matter how much time might want to try to hold it in and keep himself composed and not admit it. Boy, them emotions are getting evolved. And just imagine how much more they're going to get involved if John Jones calls for that Alex fight and takes that fucking belt off. And says, yo, here you go. Fight whoever the fuck is next up and solidify your undisputed heavyweight title, man. I'm fitting to go fight Alex real quick. Hey, yo. And then if you want to, you know, maybe we'll run this shit afterwards. Oh, my God. Oh, John's a bitch. John's a coward. John's this. John's that. Tom, everybody's going to be talking shit on John's just going to be smiling and working. Smiling and working. Huh? Just keeping himself sharp. Wow. In hopes that Tom is emotionally, you know, mentally, just getting a bit distraught and falling apart. You know what I'm talking about? And the fact that that's what he's trying to do, that's what he is doing. And if it goes down like that and he beats motherfucking Stipe and asks for Alex and beats Alex and then says, Tom, you can come get this one before I retire. And Tom takes that motherfucker, he's going to be catching Tom. 2 years older. 2 more years down the road. Probably maybe 2 or 3 more title defenses for Tom, if not 3 or 4 title defenses for Tom in the heavyweight division, which means more worse for the wear on Tom's bones. You know what I'm talking about? And Tom also talking all the shit that he's going to be talking over, you know, over that time that John Jones is leading up to fighting Alex, and then John Jones fights Alex, and then John Jones calls for the time. Oh, now of course you want it. Now I'm there. Now you all this shit, regardless of how anybody feels about it, is taking a fucking toll on Tom, and it's exactly what John wants. So you gotta salute him for that, regardless of how you feel about him, how frustrating it is, justifiably so, how much you might not like him and how much you might be down on him right now and whatever you might want to call him, you gotta respect the GOAT.